Well, hello, and welcome to number 16, angles. Nah, just kidding. Hey, kiddos. Well, actually, we are going to be talking about angles, and we're going to be talking about special pairs of angles. So let's jump right on in. So the first special pair is complementary angles. It is a pair of angles whose measures have a sum of 90 degrees. So for example, here if I have this angle 1 and this angle 2, and if I were to add them together, they would equal 90 degrees. This is also known as a right angle. So, example number 1, what must be true for each pair of angles? So what we're looking at here is we're going to compare their angle 1 and angle 2s and see what we discover. So we're going to add them up. So the very first one, you have 63 for the first measurement plus 27, and that gives you, what do you know? 90. 45 plus the 45 also gives you 90. 32 plus 58 also gives you 90. 40 plus 50 also gives you 90. And the last one, 22 plus 68 also gives you 90. So what must be true for each pair of these angles is they are all complementary. Complementary. Yay. They all added up to 90 degrees. All right, the measures of two complementary angles are 12q minus 9 and 8q plus 14. Find the measures of these angles. So, big hint here is that they tell me that they're complementary, which means this plus this equals 90. So that's going to be the setup for our equation. So 12q minus 9 plus 8q plus 14 is going to be equal to 90 since they are complementary. Now we're going to look to combine our like terms. So 12q plus 8q is a grand total of 20q. Then you have negative 9 plus the 14, and that is going to be a positive 5 equals 90. We're going to subtract 5 to both sides. 20q, those 5's canceled out, equals 85. Divide both sides by 20, and we get that the value of q is 85 divided by 20 as a decimal is 4.25, and it's okay if I leave it in this form because they're not asking me for the measurement of q, they're asking for the measures of the angles. So I'm going to take whichever one I want, either the 12q minus 9 or the 8q plus 14, and I'm going to substitute in the value of q. Now I'm going to pick this one here because it doesn't have any negative numbers or minus signs in it, so it looks like a less of a chance of me making a mistake. So 8 times q plus 14. We know that q is 4.25. I know that's a horrible looking 4. My bad. So 8 times 4.25 is equivalent to 34 plus 14 gives us a grand total of 48 degrees. So that's the first one. Now, to do the second one, technically I could plug it into the 12q minus 9, or since I know they're complementary, 90 minus 48 leaves me with 42 degrees. So that means the second one would have to be that. Now you can always check, and you can do 12 times 4.25, and you'd get 51. And if you subtract 9 from that, you end up with, guess what, 42 degrees. So check, check. It's all gravy. That is complementary. State which two angles are complementary and then find their measurements. Now, one of the awesome things about complementary is that it adds up to 90 degrees. And one of the nice things about 90-degree angles is that they're always identified by this symbol here. Okay, so anytime you have a figure and you see that, then the odds are those two angles are going to have to add up, you said it, to 90 degrees. So the two angles that we are referring to are angle TSU and angle USB. Okay, so TSU and USB. So those two angles we can see clearly because of this symbol here that they add up to 90 degrees. So angle TSU is 5x. And then I'm going to add angle USB, which is 4x. And we're going to make that equal to 90. All right, well, 5x plus 4x combines to 9x equals 90. Last step to get x by itself would be to divide both sides by 9. And we get the x equals 10. Now, the question didn't ask for x, it asked for the measurement of those angles. So the measurement of angle TSU is, well, I know x is 10 and angle TSU is 5x, so I would just substitute that in. So 5 times 10 gives me a grand total of 50 degrees, which would conclude that the measurement of USV would have to be 40 degrees. And guess what? Yes, 4 times 10 actually does give me 40 degrees. So voila, that is the answer. All right, now our favorite. We've already actually discussed supplementary angles. It's a pair of angles whose measures have a sum of 180 degrees. So in this example, if I took measurement of angle 1 and measurement of angle 2 and I add them together, I'd get 180 degrees because they're supplementary. So this looks like the previous problem, but the question's different. State which two angles are supplementary and then find their measurements. Now, here, pay attention. They say two angles, because technically you should hopefully note that there is a bottom section, I guess, in a sense, and a top section. So, for example, if I cover all of that stuff up, you can clearly see there is two angles. They're on a straight line, which makes these two angles supplementary. But what I wanted to show you was technically, if I were to cover that part up, then on the bottom half, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 angles that would add up to be also supplementary. Okay. But what we're looking for is two angles. So therefore, I don't need all the stuff that's on the bottom. I just need to look at what's up top. Now, I'm going to have to use prior knowledge because I cannot work out a problem that has x and y in it. And we've already concluded, hopefully that you recall, that this was actually 50 degrees. Okay, so that's most definitely going to help us answer this question. So we have angle, what is this? Angle TSR is supplementary with angle TSU. So that means that these two angles add up to 180 degrees. So 10y plus 10 plus 50 equals 180 degrees. 10y, we combine the 10 plus 50, give us plus 60 equals 180. Solving for y, so I'll subtract 60 to both sides. 10y equals 180, take away 60 is equal to 120. Last step, divide by 10. We get that the y is 12. Now, that's not what the question asked for. It asked for the actual measurement. So all we have to do is plug it in to the 10y plus 10. So 10 times 12 plus 10. 10 times 12 is 120 plus 10 equals a grand total of 130 degrees. So 130 degrees plus 50 does equal 180, so therefore they are supplementary. State which angles are supplementary. We actually have quite a few different options here, right? Hopefully you see you have angles 1 and 3. You have angles 5 and 2. You also have angles 2 and 4. I see we have 7 and 8. And last one is 8 and 6. Make sure that you do write those out. So, for example, angle 1 and angle 3. And then you list the rest of them. Example 3, using the figure above, if given measurement 2, so the measurement of angle 2 up there is 34 degrees, then find the measurement of angle 4. Now they're supplementary, so that should be hopefully piece of cake, piece of pie, 180 minus 34. I will lead you to conclude with the answer. So write it in. Don't forget it. I'll be looking. All right. We've already also talked about these linear pairs of angles, pair of straight angles that share a common side or ray. So you have angle WXY and YXZ are a linear pair, okay, because they share this common side, or aka this ray, and they're on a straight angle, so they're on a straight line, which coincidentally also makes them supplementary. All right, so in this first example, you are going to find the measurement of the linear pair. Remember, key here, linear pair is supplementary, so it still adds up to 180 degrees. So we would set this up as 3x plus 18 plus 93 equals 180. I'm also going to let you guys finish this on your own. So a lot of this in this video should be pretty much a refresher, reminder, just to bring it all back to the brain. And find the measurement of the linear pair. This one is piece of cake, piece of pie. All you have to do is 180 minus 35. And you get 145 degrees. Remember, linear pair angles are also supplementary. Adios.